Well, good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for being with us. I want to just give a shout out to my Midwest friends. I am a Michigander. And actually, when I think about this, I think I've been with the company almost 12 years, which is pretty incredible, and totally committed to this group and what they're trying to do for students. So a little bit about me and my journey, and why I'm here today. I was the transition specialist for Virginia Beach City Public Schools when stimulus funds came out years ago. And we had money to spend, and I was the one who got to listen to all the sales pitches. And so I'm going to tell you a little bit about Virginia Beach, and why we did what we did and how I got involved with these folks throughout our time together this afternoon. I will say it is not my role anymore. I have changed roles twice since I was transition specialist. One to a school improvement specialist job, which is why I'm at Salem High School. And basically, I was in charge of all things testing and assessment, remediation, that sort of thing. And now this past year was promoted to academy coordinator. So we have a visual and performing arts academy at Salem. It is why I came here in the first place. So that's what I do now. If I look off to the side, it's because I've got a student at my door that I need to tell them that they need to go somewhere else. But we'll get through this together. So I want to talk about successful preparation of our students to go out into the community, because we found that teaching this in the classroom has had a huge impact on our students, the families in the communities, and the businesses. And so that's kind of where I'm going to focus our attention today. So go ahead, Joyce. So just a little bit about who we are. Virginia Beach is a very large area geographically, 497 square miles basically. And we've got 82 schools, 11 comprehensive high schools, 12 comprehensive middle schools, and then one alternative school that serves both. So that's where, as a transition specialist, I spent my time, was in the schools, in the middle schools and high schools, in the division. So about 25 schools is what I'm going to talk about today as far as how we did things and the impact it's had. So our total enrollment today is about almost 63,000 students. And our percentage is a little higher than we would like it, but our percentage of students with disabilities is right at 11.3%. This is, of course, like last year's data. We don't have this kind of data yet for this year. So that's just a little bit of background. I will tell you that that large geographic region really made a difference when I was making decisions in purchasing titles for my schools. All right, go ahead. All right, so again, stimulus funds, I was asked to listen to sales folks, and this product just set itself apart from the very first visit I had. I decided, well, I wasn't the one spending the money, but I was the one, again, listening to everyone come and present to us. And so I made my best pitch and said, you know what, I want to hand pick some teachers who will implement with integrity and will then provide me the feedback necessary to be able to make a decision as to whether or not this was the best purchase, this was the best use of those funds. So I selected specific teachers. So again, this is going to reference those 25 schools. Those 11 comprehensive high schools is kind of where I'm going to focus most of my attention speaking to you today. Every one of our high schools has an in-house school-based enterprise to help the kids work here in the building before they go out. And then each building has an unpaid work experience program, which is really where we have seen the benefit in the community and gotten the best feedback from our businesses. So it's when you look at these products, you know that it's going to address IEP requirements. But more importantly, I mean, that's fine. We need to do that paperwork. And of course, we know how valid and important that is for the programming of our students. But what really makes the difference is how we prepare them for life after high school. And this, we're able to do that with Project Discovery. We're also addressing their soft skills and their life skills, which then helps them be more active participants in their homes and in their communities. And the bonus I put on here, it is so much fun to teach and the kids really, really enjoy it. So as a part of my job as transition specialist, when we got these materials and we distributed them to all of our buildings, I said to my teachers, we did the training, we did a full day of training with education associates folks, but I said, I will come observe you and give you feedback. I will come demo for you if you want me to teach it, or I will co-teach with you. So I had a teacher actually from the building I now am in full time who said to me, come co-teach with me. And so anytime I could fit it into my schedule, I was able to go out and see how this works in the classroom. So the classes that you're seeing, of course, they were kids from a while ago, but the videos that we're going to show you today were my kiddos from here that I actually was co-teaching and spending a good deal of time observing them so I could understand how this was beneficial. As the transition specialist, I was also required to go supervise all the job sites. So I got to see the students in action in the businesses, which again is pretty incredible. So I'm going to show you some pictures. We're going to look at some video and I'm just going to talk to you a little bit about this. So, all right, Joyce, I'm ready. Oh, here we go. Here's a video. These are role plays and they're super fun. I don't hear anything, Joyce.
They are both spraying and
Oh,
wiping
now I do.
tables.
That should work now.
Tasha
Yep.
sprays her table with 5 squirts of cleaner, then wipes it sloppily before moving on to the next one.
Tasha, you have streaks on your table.
It looks fine to me.
I think you are using too much spray cleaner.
I don't think so. It looks fine to me.
And you are only cleaning the middle. Remember, you have to go around the edges too.
I don't think so. It looks fine to me.
No, Tasha, your table has streaks. If it dries like that, it will look dirty.
I don't think so. It looks fine to me.
Here, I will show you the difference. There, Tasha. How do you like that table now?
It looks fine to me. Let me watch you do one more.
No way. You need to do your own work.
Darn, it was worth a try.
Nice job, guys.
Okay, so that's just a little bit of the fun that we get to have. So everything that you do, you're going to do the instruction, we're going to practice, but then we've got these fun additional bonus pieces that come along with this product that gives you some practical experience in the classroom and gives you a little bit of fun. So we thoroughly enjoy the role play opportunities we have in the classroom, and no one gets to sit out. Everybody participates, including the adults. We go first. We show them that we can be silly, that we can laugh at ourselves, and we just thoroughly enjoyed this process. And I'll tell you, Tasha was enough of a perfectionist that she really was doing a pretty good job, even though she wasn't supposed to be. And you saw that both of them kind of stayed on script. That's okay. You may have. Sorry. So you may have also noticed that Tasha's line was very repetitive, which is why everybody gets to participate, because there is that very repetitive line that can be easily programmed into a communication board. But the benefit of these role plays is huge, and it makes for a really fun class time. All right, Joyce.
Here we go. watch another video.
Okay.
Are we ready? Okay. Tasha and DeMarcus work at the Sun Devil Cafe. Their job is to clean the tables in the restaurant. They are both spraying and wiping tables. Tasha sprays her table with 5 squirts of cleaner, then wipes it sloppily before moving on to the next one.
So that gives you the setup, you know, what we're letting the other students hear, how we're setting it up. We would go back and forth between students. We would take turns, but they all had an opportunity to participate and practice. We also taught our audience how to be a good audience, being respectful
You got some grease on your table.
and helpful to each other. And then we would give each other some peer feedback.
It looks fine to me.
I think you are using too much spray cleaner.
I don't think so. It looks fine to me.
And you are only cleaning the middle. Remember, you have to go around the edges too.
I don't think so. It looks fine to me.
No, Tasha, your table has grease. If it dries like that, it will look dirty.
I don't think so. It looks fine to me.
Here, I will show you the difference.
Yeah, Joyce, do you want to stop this one since we've kind of seen it? So you saw the setup then in that one where I read the beginning portion. We did change the names of the characters so that it was specific to the kids. And we modified it for any student we needed to. If they aren't able to read those lines, they could hold up a sign. Again, it's been programmed into communication boards, but we were encouraging the students to learn their lines. So that's just kind of a fun thing. And because we're the Performing Arts Academy, we actually have some folks that like to help us with that here in the building. So, all right, looks like we got another one.
Tristan and Albert work at the Sun Devil Cafe. Their job today is to clean the tables in the restaurant. They are both spraying and wiping tables. Albert sprays his table with 5 squirts of cleaner, then wipes it sloppily before moving on to the next one.
Albert, you have streaks on your table.
I don't think so. It looks fine to me.
I think you are using too much spray cleaner.
I don't think so. It looks fine to me.
And you are only cleaning the middle, or you have to go around the edges too.
I don't think so. It looks fine to me.
No, Albert, your table has streaks. If it dries like that, it will look dirty.
I don't think so. It looks fine to me.
Here, I will show you the difference. There, Albert. How do you like that table now?
It looks fine to me. Let me watch you do one more.
No way. You need to do your own work.
Oh, darn. Worth a try.
So Albert ad-libbed a little bit there at the end, but I love that he knew his line. He was super passionate about his line. So you can see how much the kids enjoy it. And then we enjoy it too. It's really fun to see, look back at these and see our alumni and how much they grew over the years. All right, thank you, Joy.
and
Oh.
Albert work at the
Oh, no.
Sun Devil Cafe.
Let's not do this one again. So guys, here are some pictures of our kiddos in action. So we've got the little girls doing a baby bath. We've got one cleaning windows that go out to one of the outside entrances to school. And then we've got one setting the table. So we do a lot of station work with this. And, you know, the company really believes in the I do, we do, you do. So, you know, we do the demo together and then the students all work together to support one another and then they can do things independently. So these two young ladies are kind of tag teaming. So we're going to show you a little bit of a video now about how we co-taught. So again, there's various ways to do this, but I believe in using your resources and getting as many folks involved as possible. And I will tell you, with like the cleaning and maintenance kit, the custodians in our building love to be the ones to come demo and have the kids shadow them. Our cafeteria workers are so willing to come and chat with the kids or walk them through the kitchen so that they can see what's being done in other environments and give them some experience. Again, we like them to do things at school first before they go out into the community, but it's really about that huge community impact that we would have at the end. So Joyce, I think you've got one linked here.
Good morning, everybody. Are you ready to show us what you can do?
We're actually doing work performance benchmarks
For
here.
this
So
demonstration,
this is an
we're going to do
assessment.
work performance benchmarks with
I'll let myself
multiple
go.
adults at stations.
So we've got multiple adults. They're going to be at these various stations. So this is actually the assessment portion, but this is what it would look like in our rooms as far as the lab setup where the students would be practicing. So we're setting up the practice areas. We've done the instruction and now they're going to run through it for us. So I want you to just watch how we did this portion and how our kids just kind of after practicing kind of move seamlessly through this assessment day.
Some with a clipboard, some with an electronic benchmark on an iPad. Ready to go, guys? All right, let's do it.
So the tables are set breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So they each have a different place setting that they're going to prepare. So there's a lot of adults here, which I know is sometimes a challenge for groups. And also we're only, you know, obviously assessing 3 students at the time. And so where are the other kids? So our other students are with a teacher assistant or another teacher where they are reviewing the lessons, doing more practice time as we bring the students in for the assessment portion. So it does take some staff. I, again, was always willing. I always encourage my schools to invite others in. If you need to be observed, it's great to have administrators come in. I love the opportunity to join the classroom when they're doing this instruction and or the assessment as an administrator in my building. Gives us a chance to see the kids really successful and see the amazing things that are happening in our classrooms. So Joyce, I don't know if we want to keep this going or if we want it. This is kind of giving them a snapshot. I know we've got at least one more, I think, that we can look at. Push us forward towards the end. So they're making sure that everything is done, making sure the entire place setting is there for this meal. We then brought guests in that they brought in to be seated. So we're teaching them the host and hostess role or the host person role. They're going to take their orders for whatever meal they were assigned. So we really kind of took this to a whole nother level. This is kind of going beyond the expectation from the work performance benchmark requirements. But we wanted the whole experience. And again, because we feel like those soft skills are so important. Thank you, Joy.
Good morning, everybody. Excellent.
Ready? Technology issues? Okay. So this slide is going to talk to us about collaborating with the general ed and the greater school community. So again, it's one thing to teach the things in our classroom, but we need to let the students experience it outside of the classroom. So our students, we have a coffee shop in every single one of our high schools. So again, we do the instruction and then we let them go out into our community. So they take orders, they fill the orders, they do the inventory, and they also learn when it's appropriate to interrupt something that's going on. So they have to check the doors. Our teachers put signs on their doors that say coffee please, but they need to look and see, is the teacher instructing right now? If they're in the middle of something, we need to kind of pause and wait. If I'm in my office and I'm on the phone or have my Zoom sign out, then they know that they're not supposed to enter an office. So we work through those sorts of things. And then inviting others in, like I said a few minutes ago, to see what we're able to accomplish. Then I want to talk about how you take advantage of the rest of your building as far as opportunities in the kitchen, opportunities with the custodians, opportunities with their gen ed peers, maybe in a foods class, where our kids go in and observe. Our kids then start to build relationships. If it's a regular kind of thing where we can observe in the classroom, we actually have a garden, a raised bed garden here that our students have now become responsible for rather than the foods kids. And so they're learning about gardening, they're learning how to harvest, they're learning when to harvest, and then they go to the foods room with their strawberries and make strawberry jam with those gen ed students. So all of that is possible because we've taught our kids and made them comfortable and given them the skills that they can just then translate into these other environments and opportunities. So please don't make this just a classroom experience. If you are thinking about this, please understand just the incredible value of being able to go outside of the room. The small engine repair, you cannot do that in a special education classroom. There's not ventilation, there's not, that kind of stuff is just not set up. You're not set up for that. So if you have a technology class, if you have a tech ed class, work with those folks. Let me tell you, they love these materials because it breaks it down for even some of their students that are struggling with like the TCE requirements. Those are really high level skills that are required for those TCE classes. So being able to say, all right, you're going to partner with us. You're going to let us use your space. Let us bring our materials and share them with your students too. Then those gen ed students become peer buddies to our special education students. And we've just built this whole relationship that then when the kids are out in the hall, they've got kids saying hello to them. They've got kids inviting them to their lunch table. The impact is well beyond what we're trying to do in the classroom. Joyce, go ahead. All right, so then let's talk about our community partners. So I told you we have a non-paid work experience program outside of the building. So we don't allow our 9th graders to go out. Sometimes we don't allow our 10th graders to go out, again, because we've been doing this instruction up front. We let our older students go out so that they can work on those skills. So what our businesses have been able to say to us is, wow, we do not have to spend nearly as much time. We don't need to use our manpower to train your students how to do the jobs because you've done it in the classroom before they come out. They've also said, this is from families and community members, wow, I know that kiddo from my neighborhood, but I had no idea I would see him at the Food Lion, at the Farm Fresh grocery store. To see him and know that he's truly capable and is giving back now to his community and working has done amazing things for the relationships, even with neighbors. And then the benefits to the business, again, in that our students, the non-paid work experience part, that's fine. They're supervised for a job by a job coach. But once they leave us and are trying to get a paid position, the businesses know what to expect from our kids. Our kids, with the documentation that you can provide with this program, with those work performance benchmarks, with the portfolio that basically we build while the kids are with us, they can go into an interview and say, okay, no, I've not had a paid job, but I did this in my classroom and this is how I scored. Because it's on a rubric, it's not just like, you know, the teacher gave them this incredible percentage or a certificate that says I completed the program. That work performance benchmark actually gives them a rating that says, yes, I can do it. I can do it, but I need some support. I'm really not good at this part. So one of the things that we realized is with our students who are being prepared to work in a grocery store, they could do the restocking, they could do the bagging, they could clean up the front of the store doing the front end stuff that goes along with that typical position. But where they weren't safe was maybe in the parking lot with carts. So if we've learned that at school and we can make note of that, the student then, the young person going out into the community is able to say, I can bag, I can restock, I can clean the front of the store, but I need supervision or I need support when it's time to go out into the parking lot to get those carts. Or I can do all of these things on my task list, but this one I can't do. So we have to have somebody else be responsible for that. So it gives our kiddos the platform, it gives them the voice, it gives them the confidence to be able to go into these businesses and say, oh yeah, I know how to do this job. I've done it. This is what I've done. This is what shows, you know, this shows what I've accomplished. So we've got buddies over here in the far, the lower left picture, helping each other with restocking. One, she's not tall enough, but two, it's funny with the bottles. You see all those purple bottles across that top shelf. She knew it was a purple bottle, but she wasn't able to read the labels enough to get the specifics. And so again, pairing the students is really helpful. Our student in the center is restocking in a dairy department at the grocery store. And our student on the far right is working in an old elementary school that was converted into an office for central office staff, but there's still the full kitchen. So we put our kiddos out there so that it was a work experience, but not quite ready to go into the community kind of work experience. Still a safe group of people. They're all educators or they're in education. So they kind of understand. So we are doing breakfast and lunch prep in those buildings to serve those adults. So again, it's kind of a tiered approach, but we're really, really setting these kids up for success when we teach them these things in the classroom. All right, Joyce, thank you. So the importance of the assessment, guys, let me just talk about the program for a minute. I don't know of any other company who allows you, once you've purchased the materials, to make changes to the materials. They allow you to make changes once you've got it so that you can make it specific to your kids. You want to change the pictures involved, you want to change the math problems involved, you can make those adjustments. They've also put the entire piece in there for assessment that you're going to need. What I hear from schools, what I hear from teachers is, oh, we didn't get to that part. No. That's really one of the most important parts, and you do not want to skip it. Again, you're building a portfolio for these kids to take with them. So the assessment piece, we know that everything we do in education is all about the data, and so it's already done for you. This truly is the easiest product that you can purchase, turn around to your teachers, and have them teach with so little prep, so little daily prep time for the next lesson. So remember, I told you I co-taught. So I had a job out of central office. I would let Justin know, my co-teacher, which days during the week I was able to come. I would come out about 20 minutes early. I would pull the materials. I would most likely make the copies because he hadn't done that yet. Do whatever we needed to do to get prepared for the day and then jump right in to teach. So really there's minimal prep. So let me talk to you here about work performance benchmarks. You saw it a little bit in the last video that we showed, but this is me talking about the setup and how we do it.
So this work performance benchmark process for us is stations. We invited extra adults into the classroom to assist in the process so that each station was covered by an adult that could record the information on the work performance benchmark, either hard copy on a clipboard or using the electronic version with an iPad. So the students would complete an activity and then rotate to the next activity so that we could continue this process. We don't always do all of the activities in a day. Sometimes we'll do 1 or 2, maybe 3 or 4, depending on the adults and the time we have allowed. So that's the process that we use to make it a little more manageable. Students get to watch one another, take turns, and observe what's going on. We also use the peer buddy system so that one peer can support another if they need assistance. Hope you've enjoyed this and it's helpful. Thank you.
So as you watched
This work performance benchmark.
as you watched in the background, so our higher level students went first. Our lower students are seated, so they are observing this process. So they're getting extra practice, extra observation time before it's their turn. They are serving as customers, and you just kind of see it's just like this hustle and bustle, but these kids are totally on it. They know exactly what they need to be doing. One of the greatest joys for me coming in and watching this as an outsider was knowing that the majority of our special ed students at this level, our self-contained students at the high school level, have pretty much plateaued with their growth, right? We're not seeing great gains in math or reading or writing at this point. But you bring something like this in and the students feel like they can do it. They have fun with it, which helps. But you just see success for them when they haven't had it maybe in quite a while, or you see that growth that you haven't been seeing. And again, from a teacher perspective, when part of our evaluation is based on our students' growth, and we're at the high school and we're trying to assess these, low incidence population kids, the teachers get nervous. How am I going to show growth? How am I going to show 40% growth? The pre and post test alone will give you your growth. I reassured my teachers, I don't care if these kids got a 0 on the pre-test. Have they ever done greenhouse work? No. Have they ever done custodial work? No. It's okay if they got a 0. We're going to teach it, and we're going to be pretty much guaranteed that they're going to get a 40, 50, 60, 70, 80% on that assessment based on the instruction and the practice that we provided them. So it's huge. This assessment piece is probably my most favorite piece and the one I emphasize the most as I'm talking to different groups who are considering this, or when I go in to train the groups that have purchased it. It really is one of the most important pieces. All right, thank you, Joyce. Oh my goodness.
I know.
I really talked through all my slides already. All right.
And I apologize. I don't know why at the end of each slide, I just wanted to repeat those videos. I guess they were that good. We had one question. I know Michelle's going to come back on. Oh, there she is. Great. And I had one, Michelle, that I got here on the side about these benchmarks itself. Do you add to them? Do you do them as is? Are there any other things that you found that made them a little bit more pointed?
Well, the work performance benchmarks are very, very detailed, guys. If you've been around in education like I have, this is year 31. When I first started in special education, there weren't products like this out there, right? There just weren't good materials for us to use with our kids. And so we sat at home at night and worked for hours on task analysis and breaking everything down to its smallest point. So I will tell you that that's what it's already done for you. And when Joyce was talking earlier about how long the company's been around and that most of us haven't been here since the beginning, that the materials that we have now are not at all what they started with, please understand that this was a group of people who saw a need, who put some things together, but then has enough integrity and wants this to be right that they asked for feedback from their customers, and then they actually reached back out to those customers to say, we don't feel like we have the expertise. Can you help us write this? And so teachers, educators have rewritten the curriculum over the years to make it as beneficial and as specific to our needs as educators and our students as we can. So those work performance benchmarks for every lesson or activity that you teach, there are 4 or 5 steps delineated of how to get through to the end. So from that, you're scoring each one of those things every time you do the work performance benchmark. Now, we didn't repeat work performance benchmark day. We did it every 2 weeks on a Friday. We're on a block schedule, AB. We would do it every other week. And if a kid really, really struggled, yes, we would give them another opportunity. But the other thing with these products is you teach them, maybe they're taught freshman year, but then maybe you bring that title back around the kid's senior year. So they've been introduced to it, but they've been out of practice, and then you bring them back. That last benchmark is the one that you're going to want to put in their portfolio that they can take with them. And again, it's okay when it comes out that, like, one of the ones in training that is the example is electricity. So the first activity is separating or sorting wire by color. Okay. So I'm the student. Amy is so good at sorting. She gets 100% every time. She does it completely independently. She's really pretty quick with it. So we have no concerns about her sorting that wire. Activity number 2 is using a soldering gun. Amy does not do well with the soldering gun. I don't like the red tip. I don't like how it smells. I'm actually kind of scared about it because my mom has said don't touch anything hot, and I know it's hot. So that little soldering activity, I did not do well. Everything else in the unit, I blew out of the water. So does that mean that I'm not okay to be an electrician's assistant, or that I can't do something in the electrical field? No, it just means that I need some support or supervision when it comes to soldering. So it is very detailed, it is very specific, and we have not added a thing to the work performance benchmarks other than how we execute it in the classroom by bringing in guests and having other helpers.
Awesome. That's great.
All right. So I have a couple. So first of all, you have mentioned that you can customize this curriculum. How do you do that? So
Okay.
in other words, how do you customize the curriculum?
Right. So the materials that you get from the company, you're going to get a binder, you're going to get manipulatives, you're going to get everything that's in that binder on a flash drive. Now, the stuff I have in my building is on a disc. It's on a CD. That's how long ago we did it. Okay. But you are able, it is Word, it is PDF. There are multiple formats on that flash drive. And so you can modify any of it however you need to. Greenhouse. Okay. When we purchased, it was all the clip art was true clip art, and it was Boardmaker clip art, right? Which was the universal language instead all those years ago. Okay. So we realized our students, not just those on the spectrum, but all of our students do much, much better with very black and white. It's exactly like it looks coming out of the kit. So all of the photographs have been, all the clip art was taken out and photographs were put in. Well, the greenhouse, it's just a generic greenhouse. Well, I want to use our school greenhouse. So I'm going to take that photo out and I'm going to put our school greenhouse in there. I'm going to change the name on the slides. If there's a math problem that's just too much for your kids, you just pull that out and put in the one that you want. So it's very, very easy to customize.
And that's kind of a good point in terms of all of those photos and how they changed over the years, because you and other people like you gave us that input.
Right.
And so we went through everything, and there are no more stick figures, board maker stickers, cartoons, right? They're all real photos and of the equipment that comes in the kits, etc.
Correct.
But you still might want to customize it. Like if there was there's one lesson I always do, and there's a funnel. It was a red funnel. Well, if the red funnel goes missing, or it breaks, and you go and you buy a blue one at Walgreens, I would change the photo out to be the blue, or take a picture of 10 different funnels and say, see, these are all funnels. They're different colors, shapes, sizes, things like that. But they are still all funnels, so they can generalize from that. But yeah, that's where you can really kind of tweak it to make it your own.
Well, and again, if I come to train, one of the things that I really emphasize is, because you get everything on a flash drive, because we all use a shared drive, so cleaning and maintenance is in a school building, and there are 3 different teachers that teach the students. So that cleaning and maintenance kit is going to move between those 3 classrooms. So if I'm teacher number 1 for that title, if we can upload everything to the share drive, leave the originals in place, but whatever I alter, I'm also going to upload it so that then all of my colleagues after me can take advantage of that. And so we know as teachers, we beg, borrow, and steal, right? So it doesn't make any sense to start from scratch. So we're gonna share with each other.
Brilliant. Yeah, absolutely. Good. All right, Michelle.
All right. So next thing, somebody wanted to know, how did you find the partners in the community that you partner with?
So it's a little trickier now than it used to be, but it really is, you've got to go out. So I inherited the program, so there was a little bit going on. We had a couple sites. Again, remember, Virginia Beach is huge, 11 different high schools. The sites that we had, like the local hospital, is all the way across town from where I am now. So our kids would get on a bus and be transported all the way across town. Well, then they'd be offered a job, but from the hospital because of their experience, but they couldn't get there because we don't have a good transportation system in Virginia Beach. So what we did when we broke it, when we got materials for all the schools, is I looked at what jobs were available in that area of the community. We then went out to the community and stayed within that school zone to find partners that would work with our kids. So at my school that I'm at, there's a Food Lion that's kind of right kitty corner across the street. There's a credit union up the street that was willing to have somebody come in for a couple hours, during the week. There's a UPS store. There's a Dollar Tree. So we went to those places and asked, we had a whole contract from our city attorney. You have to follow the Fair Labor Standards Act. So there's some homework that needs to go into it before you build that program. But then it's really just going out and introducing yourself and saying, I've got these amazing kids. We're teaching these skills in the classroom. Would you give us a try? And we've got great partners, and we've had partners that have been around forever. Our partners, our students write thank yous to our partners. And our one partner put it up on his wall that others could see. Another community member, business owner, went in, saw the thank yous on the wall, asked the gentleman about it, and said, I want to do this. Who do I need to get in contact with? So it takes work on our end, but if you are in this job, you are in it for the kids, and you're willing to do whatever you need to do. And so we build the program.
Yeah, that's really, with all those high schools, finding the viable job pathways for each area and each of the areas is really key. And that becomes a way to kind of determine which kits make sense for which buildings, and so forth. Awesome. That's really good. And we have one more, because I know she's got to leave. She's got a class.
I got a couple minutes.
We've got a couple of things that we'll add here for y'all, but we'll ask you one more.
Yeah, well, I think that, after this, we can go ahead and, like you said, let Amy get back to it, because we know that she's really busy. But the last one that I had was asking okay, so I have students who are nonverbal and need a lot of extra support. How do you meet their needs with a program like this?
Okay. So we have a center-based program here in Virginia Beach that houses our low incidence population, our most severely disabled students. So what we realized is, these are kiddos who may not be employable, right? They may not be competitively employed ever, but we still wanted to expose them to everything we were doing for everybody else. And some of the things that we're teaching, it's not business specific, it's life skills. And so maybe they can help with dusting at home. Maybe they can learn how to do something in their bathroom. Maybe they can wipe out their sink. So we realized how important it was to expose them to it. We had to kind of break it down lower for some of our students. We did program devices. We used our specialists. We used our speech path. We used our OT and our PT and any other additional person that was available to that specific group of kiddos that could come into the classroom to help us with this stuff. But just an example, animal care. So we knew that this classroom of kiddos was not going to be able to be employed or even probably volunteer in the animal care world. But we taught them about animal care. We went across the street to PetSmart, and they learned about animals at the store. And so again, it's a group that had some allergy issues, but they ended up with a class pet. Never had they had a class pet before, but because they had such an interest in this, They ended up with a hermit crab in their classroom, but their parents indicated how much more involved they were with their animal at home or with the process at home, even if it was feeding time, like the kids knew to set an alarm because it was feeding time. So things that they could program into their communication board or have on their ring of pictures, that they use for their communication. So we made sure that everybody was benefiting, even if the outcome wasn't going to be the true purpose of teaching it.
Awesome.
Great.
Well, thank you, Amy. I'll go ahead and we'll all say goodbye to Amy. Joyce, I think, has a couple things to wrap up, but I want to let Amy go because I know she's a busy woman, but it was an honor having you here today, Amy. Thank you so much for your time.
Really a
Thank you
pleasure.
so much.
Bye,
We
everybody.
really learned so much. I took pages of notes.
All
Oh,
right.
there.
Bye.
Bye. And she was concerned because the bell was going to ring and everything else. We all know what life is like in school, and I think we've gotten used to that over the time. But I'll just point out that Amy is one of our certified trainers. So let that sink in for a second, because that's the quality of trainer that we certify nationally, right? So we don't have, just people are going to come on in and say, okay, whatever's in the book, go for it. No, she's going to help you figure out all the little pieces. I saw Sadie, you had another question about how do you find out what's required to work with a business. Ask the trainer we send in, or ask us, and we'll connect you with them, because it is, I know the answer to that question is you've got to ask. You've got to go up to those employers. There are certain employers that are very open to students who are developmentally delayed or other types of issues, and there's others that they just, you need to kind of give them kind of a sense of the type of student that are coming in. And we've got some of those pieces that can help you with that. So we just wanted to make sure that you knew where you could find other information from us. So before you leave, take a moment to just kind of, in your mind, put it in at educationassociates.com. There's a bunch of things that are great free resources for you. Number one are the archive of all of these Webinar Wednesdays. So this one will be added in a few days, and you can share this session with colleagues. And then there are many more, and there's another 19. This was our 20th one as we go on through. So definitely look at that. Also, while you're wandering around on our website, at the bottom of each page, there's this red box for sign up to our newsletter, because we kind of summarize what happens in the webinar and other tips and tricks and things like that that you can benefit from. So you would get this great newsletter. I think it's a wonderful thing. I've had several directors of special ed who said, I want all my teachers on that newsletter. It's not a big sales, going to spam you kind of thing. It's going to be what's informational and things that kind of keep things top of mind. There are other preview packets. So if you've got folks that need to learn more about this, you can download, and that preview packet is on many different spots throughout the website. But it's interactive, so it gives you, an ability to listen to the audio prompts that we use, because all of our videos have audio prompts, and walk the students through it. It lets you look at some of the videos that we have. We have a lot of video modeling, which is really key to help the students understand how they're going to set the table or plant the seed or change the oil in a small engine. I mean, there's a lot of titles out there to be learning from. And then we did also go through some real research on our own with a specialist in the field, and we've got a guide to what types of funding people have used to support these types of projects. And right now there's still, get this number, Michelle, $157 billion still left over from all the CARES and ESSER funding that happened over 2021, and it's available till 2023. So there's a lot of these funds that are still out there, and I just always say, hey, be the squeaky wheel. Just, hey, here's the material, here's how we can teach students and prepare them for life after school, life skills, job skills, and you've got there's plenty of proof on our website to help you go for it. And on this page, when we go into funding, we specifically outline for each type of funding source which parts are available. But if all of that still leaves you with a couple of questions, you can always go onto the website and look for a free Zoom overview. And that would be one of us sitting down with you all and going through, all of your questions and showing you and unboxing things and helping you see what it's all about so you can get your questions answered. And with that, we're right at 3 o'clock. Michelle, ding,
All
ding,
right.
ding. You're a
Absolutely.
winner. You can do
Um,
it.
well, thank you guys so much again for joining us. And you can also write down my contact information in the bottom left here. Michelle Magram, the office number and my email. If you guys have other questions there, you're welcome to email me as well. So thank you guys for joining. We love having you, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah, first Wednesday of every month. Keep an eye out for it. And thanks for joining us today.
Bye, guys.
And we can stop the recording. There it goes.